Well, before banks just didn't have the appetite, and they also were discouraged from using blockchain. And so
Okay.
it doesn't really make sense for a bank to issue a stablecoin. Why? Stablecoins have to
Mhm.
be one to one. Like if you have money that's come in for a
Yeah.
stablecoin, it's very limited what you could do with it. You can put it in a bank account, you can put it in T-bills,
Mhm.
but not much else. But banks have an
Okay.
advantage. For each dollar a bank holds, they're part of what's called the fractional banking system. They have to hold one on
Yeah.
hand and they can put the other eight to work in loans,
Right.
etc. So banks earn a
Yeah.
spread. Stable coins can't do that. Tether pays 0% interest. They earn money on deposits and T-bills, which is pretty good. It's like one of the best financial
Mhm.
models. But banks have
Mhm.
an additional advantage. They can actually lend the money out and earn a higher yield. And so
Okay.
up till now, they haven't been in the deposit token business because they weren't allowed to use blockchain. It was actually discouraged as seen as too risky. That has been a sea change since November
Mhm.
6th presidential election. So now it's only the first time that banks have really been allowed to look at building fiat money on blockchain. JP Morgan got a jump start. It's kind of funny. Jamie's like always talking down Bitcoin and crypto and stuff, but you might have looked,
Mm.
there's talk and
It
there's
may it has changed.
they implemented a chain and but they did it in a
Yeah.
very, very limited way for like supply chain
Yeah.
management, big customers. But really it was beyond the pale of anybody doing in the United States. I was lucky that I bought the bank during the Biden administration. Very hard to buy a
Mm.
bank if you had anything to do with crypto. And I have to admit, I was the chief risk officer for Ripple. I did put first money in at Coinbase, but I also worked for the
Okay.
Federal Reserve, right? So I was at the board. So I could put a suit on and clean up. I could kind of hang with the crypto guys, but I'm something in
Mm.
between. So we were just lucky enough to get our bank and get it cleaned up during the waning days of the Biden administration. So we just have a little bit of a jump. I'm sure we'll have company, but we're inviting people to join. It's kind of a Visa-like organization. It doesn't really
Okay.
make sense for everybody to do their own stable coin, everybody to do their
Mm.
own deposit token. That's like the 19th century in the
Exactly.
US, where each bank had its own
Exactly.
currency. And that was the disaster that led to the creation of the Federal Reserve. So we're lucky. We've got a little bit of a head start, but folks are going to wake up. They're going to catch up. So, um, and the
I
regulators
agree.
will come up to speed. They will come up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree with what you said. Not everyone needs to launch their own stablecoin, but so far what I'm saying is that everyone's trying to launch their own stablecoin, and we should expect that most of them will die out.
They,
Definitely, most of them will die, not survive. So, and it's gonna lead to maybe again to creation of some kind of centralized regulator, or I don't know. Let's see how that goes.
we'll see how it goes.
And
But Tether and USDC are
yeah,
pretty hard to displace. It's
yeah, they are, yes, but again, when you have such players, I don't think it makes sense for every second company to launch unless you have like a network effect, unless you are really, really big company which you can then disperse among your customers. But everyone seems to be launching their own stablecoin. I don't know
let's just say
if
I'm not
people going.
investing. We have an investment fund. We're not investing in the number 3, number 4, number 18 stable coins. So
Right.
we don't get that, and we think there'll be consolidation back to just a couple. But there could be specialty coins for internal
Mm,
purposes.
yeah,
We
yeah.
we don't think that's where the action is.
Sure. Greg, we know that one of the biggest risks with stablecoin is the bagging. When you don't show your reserves and etc. Can we say tokenized deposits are more safe than stable coins because banks are regulated, you have to show you all your reserves and etc. Can we say that?
Well, we're not only regulated, but we're backed by FDIC insurance. So if we
Yeah.
screw up, the
Okay.
FDIC is there to bail those deposits out. Even if there's a run on the bank, everybody just
Okay.
wants their money out. And so there's a
Mm-hmm.
solvency issue, which means like we're bankrupt. We blew it, right?
Okay.
FDIC steps in. Liquidity is
Yep.
when everybody comes and takes their money out, and maybe you even have the money, but it's all tied up. Well, we're a
Mm-hmm.
member Fed, so we have access to what's called the discount window. So if there's a run on our bank or the banks, the Fed will step in. They're not going to run out of ink for the printing machine. So we have both
Mm-hmm.
liquidity and solvency protections that stable coins don't have. So the only thing that will depeg us is if the Federal Reserve in the United States depeg, which is a risk, but
Yeah.
that's a
That could
risk.
also happen. Exactly.
It could happen.
Exactly.
But we
Yeah.
also are buying. We also are in final stages for buying a bank in Europe, so we'll do the same for the euro, and we've already invested in the
All
bank.
right.
But
That's nice.
we think the dollar's the best game in town, but we covered our bets with the pound and the euro.